This podcast is designed to help you prepare for your upcoming resit exam. In this podcast, we will try to think about where you might have gone wrong in the first diet so that you can make some adjustments for your next attempt. We will also look at some different revision techniques and exam strategies that you could consider using to help you prepare. It can be very difficult to start making plans for a resit exam, as finding out that you have failed an assessment can be extremely disappointing and upsetting. However, please know that a lot can be learned from your experience that will help you the next time you sit an exam. Try to have a really good think about exactly how you prepared for your exam so that you can identify what worked for you and where some changes can be made. Consider these questions. Try to think carefully about how you studied, as you need to work out if the way you studied for this exam is the best method for you. You should ask yourself if the way you studied made you feel confident in going into the exam. Did your method of study involve you trying to memorise lecture materials, or did you try and make connections between themes, for example? By reflecting on these things honestly, you can begin to make a plan of action for your next exam. Now let's think about the actual exam. How did you feel in going into the exam? Were you confident and prepared, or did you feel like you still had a lot of work to do? Did you feel like you understood the main topics in the module? Did you read the paper carefully and follow the instructions to the letter? Marks can often be lost when students do not read the questions properly or follow instructions such as answer one question from section A and two from section B. Looking carefully at the wording of questions is also very important, as for example, if you're told to discuss or examine a topic, you know you'll have to look at it in some depth and from all sides, whereas if you're told to outline something, you'll be giving more of an overview. If you felt unprepared, try and be really honest with yourself about why this was. Did you not understand the material, or perhaps not put as much study time in as you could have? It may not feel like it now, but you will have learned a lot from your experience. You now know what format the exam takes, what types of words are used in exams, and you also know what it feels like to be under exam conditions. You can receive feedback from your module leader about your exam in the same way you can receive feedback about an essay. It's important to try and understand this feedback and learn from it. Exams are an opportunity to show that you have understood the module and to demonstrate your academic writing skills. They are not an opportunity for students to copy out memorised notes. You really have to apply what you've learned to the specific question asked. Also try to remember, they're not designed to trip you up. Your module leaders want to give you the opportunity to show them what you've learned. Now, let's think about your revision technique. How did you go about studying for your exam? Did you try and memorise material? Did you just read over notes, books, etc.? Maybe copying out things to yourself and hoping you would just retain the information? If so, did this help you really understand the topics you were reading about? This type of revision is more passive and doesn't really help you make connections between ideas and topics. To help you really understand the information, it is more useful to undertake active revision. Active revision means you're doing more than just reading over your notes. You're asking questions of everything you read and trying to work out how concepts connect with each other. For example, if you're studying the topic of diabetes, you would consider both types of diabetes, not just the most common. You would also consider the similarities between them, the differences, the psychological factors around diabetes, the genetic factors, lifestyle, exercise, eating choices, and how these choices are formed, to name but a few areas of consideration. You could then look at how these different things connect with each other. Try and think about your own subject area in this way. Are there many different considerations and implications that you could consider and link together? Try and think about revision as a process with different steps that you can follow. First, you need to work out what topics you need to revise from the lecture material in the lecture and module handbooks. How well do you know each topic? Are there any you would benefit from contacting the module leader to discuss? Are there some you're more confident with? Then you need to decide how you are going to revise. Studying is very personal, and so the same method will not work for everyone. It's important that you take the time to try out different approaches to find out what really works for you and what you get the most out of. We'll discuss different techniques that you could adopt in a different podcast. When you've decided how you're going to revise, you need to plan when you're going to do this. Don't start out with an unrealistic plan, for example, saying you will study 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, as you will just be setting yourself up to fail. Try to be as realistic as possible. You will have other things going on in your life that you need to make time for, and you shouldn't feel guilty about this. You have to try and be flexible and fit some quality study time around your life. We will also discuss this in more detail in a different podcast. Finally, when you feel as if you've made some good progress, try testing yourself. You could have a friend or family member quiz you on topics, or you could attempt a past paper exam question, perhaps under exam conditions. Then go over this and check for anything you may have missed. Check for gaps in your knowledge, and then go back over your study materials to fill in those gaps. Looking at past papers lets you see the different wording used in questions as well, and also reminds you what the exam paper will look like. Now that we've begun to consider what may have gone wrong in the first diet and how we can go about starting to make some changes for your next exam, we can now go on to look at different revision techniques in the next podcast.